Alright, we're over here now. I've got all the materials laid out for the tail. The tail requires Western Tragopan throat feathers, a topping, red, blue, and yellow macaw, ibis, wood duck, and tippet strands. Yes, I was reading that from the book. The book I'm looking at is the Blacker Compendium. Here, I'll actually show the recipe here for a moment so y'all can see what I'm looking at. So, I do not have the Western Tragopan throat feathers, and my ibis is rather small. So, closest thing that I've got to ibis in color is this much lighter scarlet macaw, or red macaw. I think this is much older. I don't know if it's faded maybe, because it's the lightest I've ever seen. But that's kind of close to the ibis. The ibis is a little bit more pink. I'm going to see if maybe I can use a few of these, but I think they're just going to be a little bit too small. We'll have to see. And for the Western Tragopan throat feathers, I'll be subbing in with some dyed red golden pheasant tippets. And what I did last night was I soaked these for a bit in some hot water, and then I spread them out on a sheet of glass and just had them lay straight. So that way they were nice and flat. It's got a little bit of a twist to it, but that's alright. Not a big deal. There you can see how that lays much flatter than it does with a normal golden pheasant crest. And that's what we want. We want it to be flat. We don't want it to have much of a curve. The tippet, or the regular crest that I've chosen, is going to have a little bit of a curve to it, but I did the same thing and flattened that out on the piece of glass. And all I did was just laid it in a straight line, and it dried much straighter than normal. And this one is just in case. The other two, none of these really fit. I can always just tie this one in just a little bit shorter. Actually, I might even go with this one. So we'll tie that in first. Then we'll tie in our topping. And the ibis. Let me line these up on the hook really quick, which I'll show you here in a moment. Alright, so these are going to sit like this, and they're going to get tied in right about here. So this is about the length of our tail right here. And the rest of these materials will be mixed in. So move those out of the way. Now for the other materials that will get mixed in, we're not doing many of each. But we are going to pick a few. Now we're not going to pull them out to the side and let the tips become uneven. We're going to leave the tips just like this. And I want to use these outer ones. There's a couple that don't have black on the on the very tip. You can see here that little bit of black on the tip. I want to have that. You could use more back in here if you want. But that's how I want to do it. So pull it out straight up here like it was naturally, and then hold that and hold it firm when you strip it away. That'll keep those tips all nice and aligned, and you'll have part of that rakish skin on there, which will keep it all from coming apart. And you set that down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so with the ibis, or in this case the scarlet macaw, I'm going to take 3 fibers from both sides. I don't think they necessarily have to stay married together, but it helps for neatness for now. And then the red macaw. Now I do have a couple of different colors of red macaw. I chose this one because it's a bit darker as opposed to the one I'm using in place of the ibis. I think this darker one, it'll just stand out more and you'll be able to tell the difference between them once they're in the tail. And then the blue macaw. I'm going to go up here into the tip a little bit more. I don't need them to be that long. The only reason that these are this long is just because of where they came from on the feather. Here I have more choices. Again, we only want 3 pieces. I almost feel like even this might be too much. This might be 2 pieces each for this tail. It's most certainly the most material I've ever put into a tail before. So the yellow macaw. Now this tail is kind of a mixed wing anyway, so I guess technically I don't have to have the lefts and the rights because it's all going to be mixed together. And that's all going to get brushed out. This is a little bit thinner of a macaw feather, this yellow one. So I just took a little chunk. I didn't really check how many fibers there were. And then with the wood duck, kind of the same deal. I'm just going to take a chunk of it. I'm going to have enough material here to do a couple of tails. Alright, so now we're going to take the left side, which for the tail will be the far side. I'm going to try to get all of these to be just about the same length. The wood duck I'm definitely going to cut down on. It's almost like building a wing. Boy, there's a lot of material here for a tail. Now let's do the near side. Outside first. All we're doing is just stacking these so that way the tips are all aligned. There's no rhyme or reason. I am trying to stack them so that way all the backs are lined up right, so they're all facing the correct way. Okay, so now I'm just going off of kind of what was considered a built wing almost, I guess. Okay, so now we have a bundle here, which for a tail to me seems a bit ridiculous. But looking at the photo, I don't know that it is that ridiculous. And all put together, I believe this is what the tail should look like. Perhaps a bit less material. So that's what I'm going to do. Little by little, just go through and pull out one of each. I think this looks correct to me. So I will take these, and what we'll do is we'll tie this in first. And then we'll tie this over that. And that'll be our tail for our ghost fly. I will follow you, I'll see you over at the vise. I'm not sure if this can be seen. I got a different lens in the camera, so it's not good for distance. But I've got a small, regular Super 2 vise here, or equivalent. It's just a cheap kit vise. And I've taken my small tinsel and looped it here, and just pinched both ends on the other end here. And I'm going to use my twister. This is just a hair trimmer that I stuck a screw in, a hoop in, and I'm using this to just twist it up. You can't see the twister, but you might be able to see the tinsel here in just a moment. You can see it twisting up. So get that twisted up nice and good. And then I'm going to take this and turn it off, keep it taut, bend it in the middle and loop it back like this. And then if you let go, it twists itself up, and we now have gold twist. I know it's not the real thing, but I think this works well in a pinch.